Hey folks, how you all doing? This is Con Over coming to you with another match of Steel Division Normandy 44. Now, this is me playing. I told you I was going to bring you an Axis game, and I recorded the Axis game of me doing it, actually doing it in real time, and honestly I got to it and I was like, dude, this is super loud, and I thought, hey, let's give him a replay, give him a little bit of an idea of what was going through my head as the game went forward. You will see that, well, you can see the enemy player and what he's put out in terms of pieces, and I will not have that actual ability to be seeing it, all in real time as well as he does. So, this is a hindsight 2020 thing. First off, this is an easy AI. Let's be fair about that right now, that I'm not a god of tactical play in this particular game. He was playing as the 3rd Armored. I am playing as the 21st Panzer. These guys did pretty well in Africa before getting trounced by the overwhelming British forces. And then they got refit and put back into Normandy area, where they got beat up again by Brits, and then they got sent off to the Eastern Front. So these guys have a long and storied history. And the 21st Panzer is pretty good in the opening set. Falls off a little bit in B, and I think comes back later some strong tanks. Now, to start things off, I start with a very light kind of battle group over here to the west, some scouts, some infantry, and a 35F tank. In the middle, I have a mortar half-track, some optics out of this light kind of scout car, and, what amounts to about a 35mm anti-tank gun on the back of this half-track. Some more infantry there. And to the east, we will see, wherever I finally see them. Where did I go with them? Oh, there they are. Oh, where the heck over here? See 35F and some scouts as well. Now, the Americans are bringing the 3rd Armored on in, and these guys aren't anybody to sneeze at. They're actually pretty fearsome as you go forward into the game. Starting off with just some early kind of 50 cal jeeps moving in, get some scouts coming in as well, and a half-track with a couple of riflemen inside. Now to the west they have themselves a 57mm, and I'm guessing this is still too loud. I'm desperately hoping that the sound is actually good for you guys. If it's not, please let me know. The map itself is Omaha. Now, the thing with Omaha that I've kind of identified earlier, this is the first time I played on this map, is that you have these kind of collections of towns. There's like a fallback position for the Americans or for the northern player. For the southern player, you kind of have this kind of choke point right here, but the major issues are right around here to the west. And to the east, it's much more broken up. You can see there's not a lot of great sight lines moving around here. It's all hedgerows and tree lines and stuff like that. And of course, you have the roadways themselves, and you'll see me try to lock these things down, if for no other reason than to cover the curves as they come in. You'll see immediately actually having some infantry jump out and throw themselves into this house. I didn't really know this collection over here was going on right now, but this 50 cal Jeep will be a little bit of a nuisance as we move forward. Now, Americans also bringing in this mortar half-track. And in and of itself, not particularly terrifying, but the interdicting fire at sometimes, if he had been used a little bit better, could have been very irritating, to say the least. Now, first things first as well, well, I keep saying that, but first of all, is there anybody out there who actually plays this game before it's, and I know right now it's actually still in the beta. It actually doesn't come out officially until May 23rd. That's my intent, by the way, to bring out some good amounts of material on this game, so I found this game completely fascinating. It's like Company of Heroes 2 crack, as only Paradox Interactive and Eugen Gaming can provide. But if anybody out there does play, please hit me up. I'm more than happy to play with you. I know there's at least a couple people already on my friend list who do play, but I'd be fascinated to play with some of you guys, my viewers. And we're actually seeing the first rounds of combat really opening up. See this half-track pouring fire into my poor Panzer Grenadiers as they're hanging out in this house, but they're pretty solid. I mean, and they're really well-rounded troops as well. So MP40s, he's got K98s, he's got a light MG42, and of course he's got the Panzerfaust 60. Now that 60 only goes after rockets, only goes after armored units, and it's only when they're stationary. These guys, actually, yeah, that's stationary. These guys are on the move? No, they only fire in stationary. Jeez, good lord. Only submachine guns, I guess, can fire on the move. I never really took the time to check these guys out. But that Panzerfaust 60, I mean 60 meters out, they are deadly as all get out, my friends. So you see those Panzerfausts used to very good effect as the game progresses. Now, you do see the Germans do have 53% to 47%, so yay, go with the fatherland, up with the fatherland, down with the British, right? Now, if you're facing the British, it'd be even better, but that joke, I guess, only works if you're watching The Great Escape. I did see that this mortar half-track was moving on in. I was trying to figure out a way to get line of sight on it without getting seen by any kind of 57 millimeters that I assumed were going to be here, or kind of like here, looking down across these pathways. In the meantime, I didn't want my Panzergrenadiers taking too much fire from this Jeep, and I figured, you know what, let's bring in my own half-track, but the half-track doesn't do particularly well. What does do particularly well is this 35F throws a round into the mortar half-track, immediately blows out the transmission. So this guy has not even gotten a round off for his own edgewise, and my own tank takes him out. So it was a really good initial couple bits of luck for me. But immediately he's calling another one right on in, although it's way the heck back there. And you'll see me that a lot of the 21st Panzer, like I said, starts off with a lot of early infantry, a lot of early mechanization, with these 35F tanks, as well as just half-tracks galore. Whether it's mortar half-tracks or the U-304s to bring in infantry. The interesting thing as well is they also have access to this super light pack gun. It's a self-propelled gun, and frankly is not the most overpowered sort of thing. I think it's only a 37mm cannon. Yeah, it's a Pak 35. So not the most devastating piece of equipment, but nevertheless is good against early vehicles. In the meantime, I did bring some Panzergrenadier Führers over here, so these guys gave a little bit of a combat bonus to people around them. But I ran afoul of this 50 cal, and that did a real big number on me. A really big number. You see, he took out 3 guys almost immediately. The poor guys are still lying on the ground out there. It's Franz, Hans, and, you know, Jürgen. But even as the Americans bring in more forces in the form of half-tracks, you know, some more scouts, this and that, my own troops are shifting on in to take more advanced positions. This house right here is a great breakwater. You'll see it being utilized almost to the fullest as we get a little further into this replay. And I must stress again, this is only an easy computer, and I admit I was still struggling a little bit to get all the micro in. It's a lot to take in initially in this game. There were a couple of times I slowed the game down to, like, you know, just not normal speed or like super slow, but slow, just to kind of make sure I could get a handle on things. Also, in case you're wondering why there's a box or something like that right here, I'll try to make it as pretty as possible, but no promises. There is a bar that kind of screams, guys, this is how long the game is going to take, and I didn't really want to, you know, show it off too easily. What you will see is that, as of right now, I don't really know where any of the Americans are, and I thought to myself, you know what, I control 51%, I'm taking in my favor, there's no need for me to push. And you'll see he's bringing in these command tanks, these command stewards, and these guys are annoying as all hell. You see, in just a second, there's going to be a command steward hanging out in this courtyard, and it turns out this is an OP position, like crazy. This light tank just starts pouring fire into my Panzergrenadiers. He can see all the way down almost into the town, and as he rotates further and further over, that position gets better and better, just dominates so much area. The first shot comes in and damages the transmission. Was not pleased by that. Not pleased at all. Well, with him finally putting fire down on me, I was like, you know what, I have mortar half-tracks for a reason, might as well put fire into the half-track, see if I can force that guy back, maybe even inspire him to chase in after my Panzergrenadiers. And I think that happens soon enough, but give me a second there. And actually you can see the first example of what those Panzerfaust can really do. Not quite yet though. Okay, I thought he was a little closer than that one, but no. Just gets taken out by rifle fire and a little bit of distance interdictory fire, let's call it, from this pack and everything like that. Okay, but now over here in the west, this Jeep is still there. I knew about this 57mm because of these scouts, and I was like, you know what, I can't move forward to any kind of light armor, infantry, really anything over here to the west. So I gotta go and make sure I push back that 57mm. I was able to do so with this bad boy. But he was taking fire from this Jeep, and this is where I kind of screwed up, because this guy kept moving forward. Now, he should have been able to be better placed. I mean, right back in this area, you'll see, I guess, as you start getting more experience yourself with the game, dumping your indirect fire points behind like a city block, as long as there's no infantry on the other side with any kind of bazookas or anti-tank, is an awesome, awesome position to hold. That's not always possible, of course, but, you know, if you can get it, you might as well. Americans continue to push in, though, bringing in a Bofors, and this Bofors will put annoying interdictory fire down on my 35F to the east, and his own scouts are moving on in to give him a lot of line of sight. And geez, I didn't even notice there were more half-tracks coming in right about now. I was super, super focused on this guy. I'm trying to put fire down to the compound, I'm putting rain, you know, just material in, but it just wasn't doing anything with it. And you'll see a bit of a tactical blunder soon enough. This 57mm where he is right now, not great sight, right? Now, if he moves a little bit forward, however, look how much crazy, crazy line of sight he does get. And I'm gonna screw things up pretty quickly, unless maybe I did it already? Oh, okay. Maybe I did it already. Yes, so this half-track, I was gonna try to shift him forward and take these buildings. So I lost an entire squad of infantry by being a complete ponce. That was a little bit embarrassing. Also, both of us have scouts moving in. His scouts aren't going to fire. My guys aren't going to fire. So we kind of we're spying on each other just a little bit here and there. Not too bad. Ah, here we go. So okay, the M8's going to charge on in. And this guy's no slouch. I mean, he's a pretty good fighter. Not great, mind you, but he's decent. And putting fire into this pack gun, so we start to back away, put some fire into him. Not that much really damage really happens in either direction the first couple of shots. Since I can only fire from stationary, this guy's going to like lock it down and quickly get one round off and then back away again. If I could stress him out, all the better, but I wasn't able to do so too quickly. I did think, though, if I can draw him in, we would really surprise him with those Fausts. Or not so much surprised, because it's kind of like, oh look, there's a squad of infantry right there. Here's another issue as well. So this other command, Stewart, these guys are just ridiculous early game. They have such great fire. It's a 6-pound cannon, maybe? Williams, that's your Bailiwick. You want to chime in, go for it. East is pretty much coping by itself. This Bofors and this 35F just trade fire for days and days and days. I was lucky enough to get some damage out on this half-track. Damage transmission means he's going to fall back pretty darn quickly. And these guys didn't fire, did they? Okay, good. I was like, don't fire, whatever you do. Yeah, so no, I ended up losing that half-track, and I was like, oh, I'm really angry now, so I was going to throw some mortar fire against the 57mm, and maybe, just maybe, get some potential to shift up this road. I got a little bit lucky on this one, though, too, and that's kind of a great thing about this game, is that these lines of sight are very precise. So shot comes through, already doing some good damage. And after seeing the 57mm was back in the area, I was like, oh my god, I gotta get these guys out now. Opal Blitz moving here from the west. I figured quickly have them bail out so we can get the infantry in much more safely. We are into Phase B now, and just as a reminder to you guys, the phases, the way that this works, oof, I didn't even realize that. So these guys put a Faust into this charging M8 and took it out pretty darn quickly. So the way that this works is that you gain this many resource points every 10 seconds. So, the first phase, for example, is I get 85 every 10 seconds, the second one is 120, and the third one is 125. You'll also notice that this, like I said before, that this infantry squad right here is like the breakwater for me. If this is Waterloo, this is my Hougoumont. This is my other one that escapes me right now. La Haye Saint, that's the one. And these buildings, you'll see buildings are really powerful. If you can control them, it gives you a great opportunity to kind of hold up, delay your enemy, and just then rotate back around or deploy appropriately to counteract their push. The immediate question is, how do I fight that? And the easiest way to say that is, you know, make sure you have some distance vehicles to engage. May seem obvious, but it's still worth repeating. Now, in the meantime, over here, I noticed that this half-track was charging on in, but the half-track wasn't quite seen by my troops, and indeed you'll see I don't know where he is in a couple of seconds. He just kind of like randomly disappears. But then just as quickly I'm able to see him. He doesn't even see my tanks. That's a big problem there as well. I know he's there now. Territory has shifted, and I'm going to shift up forward so I can kind of get a nice little, oh my god, shot. This poor man is like, hey, look, I have a machine gun. Tank put fire over here back in this area to put some damage out, but damage transmission, I believe, do I have him? Oh, no, the shooter's knocked out. That's what it was, okay. See, he's not firing. Why is he not firing? But no, so these command stewards are just really, really kind of hassles consistently, and it's just an unfortunate thing to really realize. All my infantry could not get forward more and more, and what the heck? Oh yeah, I couldn't quite understand this. I think I had my tank crew surrendered. I wasn't sure exactly how that worked, but yeah, I don't see them anymore. I think he died. I don't know how that works. Anyone out there wants to explain that, go for it. I haven't quite figured out that nonsense just yet. But even taking this ridiculous fire over here from this 35, well, from the Bofors onto my 35F, and losing my only P4 over here to the western side, things are going pretty strong. I'm bringing in a heavier piece of equipment right now with this 39H. It's just a nice long range. How heavy is this cannon? Oh, it's an LEFH 18. Okay, so this is anybody who plays CO2. This is the really big howitzer kind of cannon that can be lofting rounds pretty much the entire distance around the map. You see over here to the western side as well that I want to dive bomb 57mm as much as possible. What I should have done is hit them and then pushed forward with something else to really lock them down or take them out, force them back further, but I didn't. Instead, I had this Mustang come on in, and as good as Junker is, he's not good enough to last against that, so the poor guy goes down. Oh well. That happens, though. Was I able to take the 57mm right about now? I don't know. I do know, yep, these Panzer Grenadiers get just rocked like crazy. I was calling my own ME-109 trying to get after that Mustang, but I think the Mustang evacuated before I could really get pressure onto him. And that's what it was, okay. So mortar half-tracks combining together to take out this 57mm and make the way safe, mostly for my heavier tanks, which are still pretty much absent from most parts of the field. And this punk over here is like, oh dude, okay, so that Bofors, he's going to come under fire right now. You'll see him start lofting rounds down there. And the Americans decide that's a good time now to push forward and really try to take out this position. But my anti-tank gun pack machines are just kind of convince them otherwise. It's probably a bad idea. And without any kind of way to push against me, the Americans start to dither a little bit. They have an M8 over here, they have some munitions coming back in, they have a Bofors just kind of chilling now, he's falling back. Another 57mm coming in. Now, the 3rd Armor doesn't necessarily have a lot of material at the beginning of the fight, but let me tell you, they do ramp up rather intensely. Let me turn up the music, but keep the, you know... probably too much. Let's turn up the music a little bit. Didn't want to just have silence in the background. But Flamethrower charging gun forwards gets taken out. This little Duber right here with what, a 2mm cannon? 30cm cannon? No, 30mm? Could not tell you. Nevertheless, a scout car is doing pretty darn well, does some good damage there. And I've noticed that this is why you don't send infantry forward by itself. This half-track, as well as this dumb freaking command steward, just consistently were harassing my guys like crazy. But then it is something that was actually probably the best thing I did all game. First, I brought a Martyr in. This is a big anti-tank gun for the Germans. I also have some 2 Panzer IVs. Now, the Panzer IVs, in and of themselves, are pretty darn good armor piercing. Let's see if I can bring up... Okay, so that's his line of sight. There we go. Really good armor to the front, decent to the side, and to the rear, kind of garbage. But, even, you know, in the B phase, a Panzer IV doesn't have many competitors. And I thought to myself, okay, you know what? It's time for a 1-2 punch. Bringing in some more optics to kind of scout to the western side so I don't blunder into more 57 millimeters. If I bring in infantry, have a half track behind, and a little bit of these tank positions, we could really sock it to them. And I might be wrong in saying this, but I think I did a really pretty good job of it. Might have been a better idea, though, is to get my armor munitions truck back into cover. Would have been a better plan there. Meanwhile, my mortar half-track's getting reloaded like crazy. And once again, Jeep's coming on in, and it's really kind of lucky my opponent didn't go for a bigger push with artillery. Definitely would have been quite an issue. In the meantime, okay, so the P4s begin their inexorable push forwards, taking out this half-track. You'll see in a second as well that this half-track becomes rather easy meat. Although both my Panzers decide to kind of, you know, put fire into this command steward instead. And I was pretty happy with that. One salvo, and they were able to force that steward to bail out. And another shot or two, and there goes the half-track, and you'll see that we're in danger of losing 50% control, and now up to a nice strong 56, and we'll even go up as high, I think it's about 58, 59, maybe even a 60, which speeds up our rate of control by a good amount. I'm wondering on this map, and anyone who's played this map more often than me, feel free to let me know, but I think that Omaha's going to be very, very focused on these towns to the western edge. You can see right there, of course, a half-track getting taken out. Both my tanks freaking out for a second. I realized, you know what, if I can stress him out enough, he will be able to put any kind of fire into me. And indeed, you do see he's falling back immediately. And I thought, you know what, I can continue to push forward, put some more pressure on him, we'll be all set here. Panzer Grenadiers taking more fire from these command stewards, you know, that's going to happen. I'm going to focus on these tanks pushing on over here to the west because these guys are pretty darn good at what they do. They're a little bit stressed, not too bad. But you see, it starts to calm down. That's great. Works out pretty darn well. Mortar half-track in the meantime, trying to continue to put fire onto the steward. Ah, that's what it was. Okay, so we see the M7 coming on in, and I'm sure someone's going to yell at me. That's a priest, isn't it? Maybe a deacon, something of a very holy, kind of self-propelled gun. Let's get on in there for a second. I'm sure I'm wrong, but let's get in there. No, it should be, I'm pretty sure it's a priest, isn't it? It's not a self-propelled, maybe it's just a self-propelled howitzer carriage. But anyway. To the west, and I hadn't quite noticed this. I was thinking, I'm still in love with my own legend. I have both my P4s charging on in. I got lucky. But the Americans decided to come out into the open, and this got wrecked. So in about, you know, quick burst of fire or two, one cannon shot or two, and the infantry goes down. But then I really started falling in love with myself, and they'll start to pay for it later on. Americans were continuing to start pushing forward over here. What was this? Was this actually? Oh no, it's just the double Brownings. Okay. So this is a later M4 Sherman, upgunned a little bit. Has a really weird silhouette. Williams, you want to comment on this one? I know you can. Go for it. I will say that this thing was beautiful to watch. It was a lot of fun for me to do. It's like, oh my god, this is perfect. And I was like, okay, look, I get to see half-tracks. Quick, take him out. I was praying I could take out any kind of infantry in the area. But these guys are dreadfully out of position in many ways. I mean, this guy right here is doing absolutely nothing. I know accidents do happen, though. Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. So he threw one burst of machine gun fire through, took that guy out, and pinned this guy down. Okay, cool. That's what did me in. Okay, you'll see in a little bit that these dudes just kind of randomly blow up. And in fact, I will speed this up a little bit more. I would focus over here, but a lot of what's going to happen is you'll just see me to try to call an artillery strike in on that bad boy. He starts to really, really piss me off here. It just keeps firing. It just kept firing in this area, just stressing my dudes out. It was like, dude, stop it. In the east, you will see as well, we'll see a couple of exchanges of fire, let's call it. Now the M20 command is not going to do a whole lot. If memory serves, he just got the 50 cal, doesn't he? Yes, he does. And the crew just got killed there, so fantastic for me. And, okay, yeah, so I was going to try to call a bombing strike on in. He went, and I did... Oh, wow, okay, good. Actually, we got close enough to him. Didn't think I was. And I thought it was a perfect time for me to actually bring in my own Air Force to protect my Junker. So my ME-109's sliding in behind, trying to make sure this Mustang doesn't take out my only bomber that I have left. And correctly, this guy tries to just bolt. He's a good man right there. Very good man. He does so too, so... You know, fairly even victory. Ah, okay, so this is why when I screwed up. I thought, you know what, I can maybe even cut in behind and get rid of his recent reinforcement points. And he shows me why that's a bad idea. I was able to take out the half-track. I thought maybe I could push forward and take out this munitions truck here as well. Where did I go? Because this gun's still not setting up. One more shot, you'll see it happen, I think. Yeah, this is where it begins to happen. Yep, one shot. One shot blows him apart. That thing is a huge cannon. 2 shots, 2 kills, and that was the end of my big armor push to the west. I was super excited, and I got super upset. But I was bringing in infantry already. I thought I was going to be able to consolidate this part of the town. And I was like, wait a second. I just lost two of my P4s. I have no idea where that happened. So you'll see my push become a little bit more aborted. As we kind of get screwed a little bit. But even as the western one kind of falls apart, eastern side bringing in a couple of Panzer IVs. We have Königstiga at some point getting brought in. I don't know where he ended up being. And my opponent just starts spamming out M8s like crazy. Which is fine by me. I mean, M8s are they're not terrible, but you don't want to bring them in for your main kind of artillery piece, or excuse me, main kind of armor piece here. And you'll see why as I get closer and closer to my troops. It's like, oh look, a nice obvious target for me. Yeah, and you'll see my packs are shifting on forwards, trying to lock down this point in the road. This poor guy's going to come right into one of them if he's not careful. Yep, that's what it was. There we go. So worth noting, so these little stars underneath are amounts of experience. So the higher amounts of experience that they have, obviously, the better that they do quicker. Not that it's a perfectly understandable system for me just yet, but a system is a system. Martyr, in the meantime, setting himself up. He's going to get a great shot into the side of this M8. There we go. 1 shot, 1 kill. He's down. I thought, by the way, in the meantime, hey, no, I can get this MG42 into this house right here. This would be perfect. I'll have, you know, the P-Grens there to kind of be a good buffer, a good hit point sponge. Be great. Did not go quite as well as I was hoping. You see me try to exchange fire from this huge artillery piece. And then one of the biggest things I kind of forget to do is I forget to resupply the damn thing. That was quite frustrating. I'm still trying to put this M8 out of misery. Out of my misery. Because he's still doing a lot of damage to my guys. He just keeps coming forward, throws off a couple of rounds and backs away. Throws off a couple of rounds and backs away. I don't know about you guys, but after a while, your infantry's morale starts to suffer a little bit. Excuse me. But even while that was happening, I thought to myself, you know what? I know that those materials are coming from. Let's see if I can't manage to get another bombing run on in. And I thought I had it. I really thought I did. But I guess not seeing the stupid thing is going to make it harder for me to actually target it. On the plus side, I did take out his Mustang, or at least one of his Mustangs. He still has another one out somewhere. Okay. You'll see one of my poor, brave men gets rocked and socked by 6 quick firing and 50 cals. So he went down. That was pretty sad. But over here in the east, okay, so the Americans are finally pushing forward again, and this guy's got terrible lines of sight, except for right here. So, oh, okay, so he learned from it. Okay, so he didn't quite unload his troops right in the open. But we're already up 1,200 points, 1,500 points. And even though we're taking fire from this annoying thing, which was quite irksome, I still have 2 P4s. I did bring in a Koenigsegg. I just don't remember when I did it or where even the heck I put it. This dude's completely out of ammo in terms of howitzer shells. And you'll see I didn't even realize it. I didn't realize it. It has a helpful little icon right here, guys. If you play the game, you'll see it. His major thing is completely out. But not realizing that, I decided to do something really, really stupid. I told him to attack this area, and I start to just kind of charge forward with him, which is a little bit laughable. I was really frustrated about this P4 getting hit consistently. And dumb M8 was just wrecking my guys. Finally taking out the house, it means that I didn't have that great breakwater anymore, but I just hopped back into the next place, and that was just as good enough, I would think. And poor Panzer Grenadiers over here to the west weren't doing too well either. So, what was the solution? What did I do to kind of combat this? Well, I was bringing in a half-track, and what was on the back of that half-track? Let me slow this down just for half a second here. Da-da-da-da. 88, one of the dreaded 88s. The beautiful thing about this game is that even though it's listed as an anti-air piece, obviously, which is what the primary purpose was for it during the war, you'll see a beautiful, beautiful shot happening pretty soon. Where did he go? Okay, so he's here. I think I'll line him up right about... What is it? Gosh, where'd that go? Yeah, we'll find out in a minute. But he charged on forwards, and I was like, yay, he's charging me, this is great. Not so great. His tanks are behind me. He's going to start pulling and blowing apart one of my packs. I was pretty upset there. And I just could not think if I was going to get any kind of line of sight on him, and I was pretty sure I wasn't going to. And this guy instead started focusing in that direction. So, if memory serves, this is what a beautiful, beautiful Panzerfaust can do. 3, 2, there we go. Skadoosh. So, I lost a pack to his M8, but then I took out his Stuart with his nice little Panzerfaust shot. Did a lovely little offhanded hit, if I may say so myself. And the last major thing that's going on here, as we tick down to the final parts of this game, come on, get to the position that I want to show. Okay, I was trying to force the M8 into a bad spot. I don't remember really being able to do so. Now, where did it go? Okay. Again, probably the last crowning real brilliant thing in this game was a beautiful, beautiful hit from this 88, and I was bound and determined to make sure it got onto the field. I know I had a Koenigsegg. Where did it go? Oh, there we go. So Koenigsegg made it onto the battle space. I think he fired off one round, and that was it. Not particularly enthralling, but hey, that happens. Alright. There we go. So this beautiful, beautiful piece is going to get set up pretty darn soon here. I think. Soon. There we go. And the first round throws a pins down a complete half-track, pins down an infantry squad. It was pretty awesome. And I thought to myself, maybe he can do that again. And sure enough, boom. There goes the half-track. We're all set to go. We're squared away. I did lose a P4 over here, and very, very quickly you'll see the other P4 follows his friend into the dustbin of history. But I didn't really realize that the M4A3E2 was that good of a tank. So that was a bit sad. But I guess I won't complain too much. The position that I had in the field was fantastic. I didn't have anything to really complain about. I didn't know really until I started watching this replay that the 76mm was over here. In a lousy spot. But again, an easy AI, and we still had a little bit of trouble with them, but I wanted to at least show off a little bit what the Axis could do in return, at least in the hands of a, you know, not capable player, but a player that's not completely and totally a moron. Now, that'd be a player that's not me, of course, but this is still a fun game, nevertheless. Broombar's coming in the meantime for the victory parade. They're not going to come in and actually fight, they'll just be here for a little bit of time. And I'm still trying to figure out this whole surrender mechanic. So anybody out there wants to tell me what that is and how that works, I'm more than happy to listen. And I'm wondering if my opponent didn't quite want to go and push the infantry at the right time, Now, best thing for me is that it was a total victory. I, of course, was the Axis and not the Allies, but I guess the last person I looked at was the Allies. So, according to the computer, whoever I observed lost, but the good old Axis of or Axis of Ulrich, was able to pull out the big W at the end of the day, and I couldn't be too happier about that one. Regardless, if you guys kind of enjoyed kind of seeing the gameplay, I am going to do some division breakdowns, or at least that's my hope, if I can get the right kind of material out. If nothing else, I'll take you through the creation of the decks for each of the groups, as well as what each group is really good at for both Axis and Allies at the current point. But if you want to see more of this, smash that like button, hit subscribe, leave me comments, do all that kind of good stuff, and I will be happy, tickled pink even, to give you more Steel Division Normandy 44. But for the meantime, this is Ulrich signing off. You guys all have a great day. Take it easy, everybody.